Five Kingdom system is proposed by Robert Hardin Whittaker in 1969, where he classified all living organisms based on the three criteria: level of cell organization, types of organism, and modes of nutrition. Level of cell organization divides into two, which are Prokaryote and Eukaryote. Prokaryote has no true nucleus and no membrane-bound organelles, while Eukaryote has true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Types of organisms divides into two, which are unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular is single-cell organism, and multicellular is when the organism made up by two or more cells. Modes of nutrition is how the organism obtain their food. It's either they produce their own food, and since some cannot produce their own food, they obtain it from somewhere. So there are two types of modes of nutrition: autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic means they can produce their own food. Heterotrophic, they cannot produce their own food, hence they need to obtain it from somewhere. One type of autotrophic is photosynthetic, which is organisms produce their own food by photosynthesis. They use light energy and convert it into chemical energy, which then will be stored in anorganic matter, for example like glucose. Heterotrophic divides into two types: saprophytic and holozoic. Saprophytic is organisms that need to digest the food externally and then absorb the nutrients. Basically, saprophytic always related to decomposer because they usually digest dead or decaying organic matter. Holozoic is organism that need to ingest or put the food inside their mouth or inside their body, and the food will be digested internally. So five kingdom system refer to five kingdom, which are kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. So how Whittaker classified all the living organisms into the five kingdoms are based on the three criteria mentioned previously. So all living organisms, firstly, divides based on the level of cell organization into two groups, which are prokaryote and eukaryote. So all living organisms that do not have true nucleus, which is prokaryote, are classified under kingdom Monera, while all the living organisms with true nucleus, which are eukaryote, continue to divide based on the types of organism. Types of organisms refer to the organism composed of how many cells. If the organism composed of one cell only, the organism is unicellular. If the organism is composed of two or more cells, the organism known as multicellular. So all the eukaryote organisms that only made up by single cell classified under kingdom Protista, while the other eukaryote organisms, which composed of multicellular cells, are continue to divide into three kingdoms based on the modes of nutrition. So modes of nutrition divides into photosynthetic or autotrophic and heterotrophic. All eukaryote organisms, which are multicellular and can produce their own food by undergoes photosynthesis, are classified under kingdom Plantae, while the other eukaryote organisms, multicellular organisms, which cannot produce their own food, are continue to classified into specific kingdoms based on how they obtain the food. It's either by saprophytic or holozoic. So all eukaryote organisms, which are multicellular and obtain their food by absorptive, which is known as saprophytic, are classified under kingdom Fungi. And the other organisms, which are eukaryote, multicellular, heterotrophic, and obtain their food by ingestive or holozoic, are classified under kingdom Animalia. So this is how Whittaker classified all living organisms into five kingdom system.